Hey friends, in today's video I am talking about my Warlock builds for Season 18. Already did it with the Titan, already did it with the Hunter, so check out those videos if you haven't. Starting it off, let's go with my daily drivers of the season, which is Stasis Hand Cannon. Eye of Another World gives plus 15 aerial effectiveness. It also is useful because it highlights weakened targets and targets with a super. A lot of times we get into the later rounds of trials and there's a lot of invis players running around, and if an invis player happens to have a super, they're just a bright yellow outline and they're very easy to spot. I think the Stasis kit, you know how I was trying to use the Stasis kit on Titan to be like Dawnblade? It's funny because I use the Stasis kit on Warlock to be like Titan. I use my Glacier instead of a Barricade, and I use the turret to break stalemates, the Frost Pulse to punish aggression, and the Penumbral Blast to punish aggression. While I am at 4 strength, it is a rapid cooldown with Eye of Another World because it just base improves ability regen. My fragments are pretty much all into stats, with Durance for slow. Keep in mind, if I do throw the Glacier at somebody's feet, it does slow them, so I think that comes up. I want to be able to hot swap between my Hawkmoon and my No Time to Explain, since No Time is such a lethal gun. So I have it so I can just hot swap over. Just like that. Go with Swift Charge 2 and Outreach to give me more Penumbral Blast. Got the pick up Orbs of Light, get health, create Orbs of Light on double kills. And you do get a lot of double kills when you're at 10 resilience with a Glacier Nade. You will outgun them. Not only do you have a faster time to kill, but now they need more shots on you if you just simply stand next to a Glacier. I go Empowering Rift, not because I want to use it with No Time to Explain, but because it literally has a faster animation for killing things. So if a super's flying at me and I throw Empowering Rift down, I will be able to probably 1-2 punch it with the Shoddy before it can respawn back to me. So that's why I run Empowering Rift. So yeah, that's Stasis out of the way. Recently, I relearned how to play Dawnblade. And by relearn, I mean with some thorough testing, Ed and Low helped me out here. I took down all the Scorch numbers and then some Scorch interactions. And the TLDR on this is you can blow up groups of people and kill other wells by just knowing how to use your Incinerator Snap, your Incendiary Nade, or your Phoenix Dive to cause Scorch on people, as well as Skyburner's Oath. I personally use Incinerator Snap to cancel the sliding animation to help with speed and instantly Icarus dashing backwards if I know somebody's going to dome me otherwise. It's just a good movement tool to have. Incinerator Snap is the worst melee of the two, by the way. I just traded off for the movement speed, and I will demonstrate that in a second. So let's go with the daily driver build. Your eyes do not deceive you. I am not joking here. I use Astrocyte Verse and Cloud Strike. So you might be saying, oh, that's for Blink. You're supposed to use it on Blink. No, I'm not going to. The reasoning is, Cloud Strike has 7 airborne effectiveness. So if we all get out our TI-84s and calculate this real quick. Airborne effectiveness. Heat Rises gives plus 70. Unlike a normal sniper, I cannot put an Icarus grip on Cloud Strike. So how the hell am I supposed to get to 100 AE? The answer is, get you a helmet that gives plus 30. Astrocyte does that. So I kind of just fly around, look for multi-kills, and try to build up Frenzy by repeaking very, very strange angles. Then once I have Frenzy, I use torches, shoot somebody with my melee. I'm Radiant, and I have Frenzy, and I do a lot of damage. Typically, when I run the Astrocyte setup, I am on Firebolt Grenade, because it's kind of like a toolbox. While you do heal more for consuming your grenade for Heat Rises with a healing grenade, I like that Firebolt can still damage my opponent behind a wall or something. And the beauty of Astrocyte Verse is I don't need to activate Heat Rises. I pretty much just use Heat Rises as a med pack for my teammates. I just heal them. and the float is just a bonus, or I'm trying to open around with Cloud Strike. One of the two. Hand cannon doesn't work on every map though. Let's say disjunction comes up, and I don't want to rely on just 2 Cloud Strike bullets for the whole round, because I plan to stay alive, right? What's the next best option? Well, that, my friends, would be Ophidian Aspect. So, you might notice this drip, repurposed it. This is such a weird setup for me, but I promise you it's good. I'm going to have gameplay accompanying this video sooner than later. It is good stuff. So, Deliverance has a very high base airborne effectiveness, and I bump it to 24 with Icarus Grip. Ophidians are plus 10, so we're at 34. So if I pop Heat Rises, I'm at 100 with my fusion. And then if I get kills, Demolition is triggers, and it refunds my grenade. If I play the Scout Rifle playstyle, I'm never really close to my enemy, so there's no point in using Firebolt. I want extra healing from the healing grenade. Skyburners has a whopping 45 airborne effectiveness. There is no Icarus Grip on exotics, but 45 is like way better than some legendary counterparts with an Icarus Grip. And it scorches from the hip. So the combination of Ophidian Aspect plus Skyburner's Oath means I could fly around Widow's Court and still hit yellow numbers across the map without even popping Heat Rises. It just gets perfect if I pop Heat Rises. So these are the mods. I could pretty much run whatever I want here. I just had extra room for holster. I try to get to 10 resilience when I can, but 6 is the bare minimum. I also will switch this out for symmetry if I want a little bit more arc in my life. And speaking of that, I guess. Oh, hold on. I'll show you one more solar. A lot of y'all were dogging me to try out Wings of Sacred Dawn. And I thought for a second, the penalty of using wings, I already know someone in the comment section typed this shit up too. Why don't you just use wings instead of the grape helmet? The answer is because you get trapped in the air when you use this. And so, high key, this is a very flexible build where I can build into either Forerunner SMG or Forerunner Sidearm or Battler Grenade Launcher. I realize Sniper doesn't really quite work with this because Wings of Sacred Dawn is only plus 50. So I have to pop Heat Rises anyway. And if I have to pop Heat Rises anyway, I might as well just use Astrocite if I'm sniping with Heat Rises. So the goal is to use a harder hitting grenade since I now no longer need it for Heat Rises. But keep in mind, I do keep this aspect on because it specifically allows me to shoot while gliding. And that's huge. While I would like to run the Inferno Solar Nade, like the Enhanced Solar Nade, it makes way more sense to run Incendiary because of Scorch combos. So by throwing an Incendiary Nade and then scorching somebody, they will just blow up. I should have mentioned that on the Ophidian Aspect build, whenever I am popping Heat Rises, I typically will run Phoenix Dive on that Sky Scout build. Because when I have Heat Rises popped, Phoenix Dive scorches targets. So what I can do is I can shoot my melee at people and then fly down with Phoenix Dive and blow them up with Skyburner's Oath. It does happen. You can blow up other wells. You can float above a doorway, have a golden gun walk under you, and just blow them up. You don't even have to aim it well. I almost killed a missile today doing this, by the way. Like, a missile titan flew at me. He happened to pick my teammate instead of me, but if he picked me, I guarantee I'll blow him up. But on the Wings of Sacred Dawn, I typically go Rift and Incendiary Nade with Celestial Fire. Wings of Sacred Dawn does give you damage resistance and reduces incoming flinch, which is huge. But the negative is it holds you in place. So I built a BXR Battler, just a generic one for AE, to fly through the air and not have to aim down sights to still hit yellow numbers. This is kind of like my Titan build with Dead Man's Tail and Lion Rampant, just the Warlock version that builds more into blowing things up. So I really like this build. Okay, now talking about some arc in our life. I think I took off all the frags here, so I'm going to have to rebuild this real quick. Jolt Nade, slide over bricks. think this is resilience, and I think this is recovery. Why do I build in the stats? Because I literally do not care about amplified. Being amplified sucks when you're using Lumina. I pretty much build into the Arc Soul. I know I could go chain lightning too to get a faster slide melee with this lightning surge, but I like ball because it's like a toolbox. Sometimes there's a Titan behind a barricade, and I just want to shoot ball lightning over the barricade to finish the kill, instead of risking using my lightning surge and putting myself in a bad position. I like lightning surge because it's kind of like Mask of Bakris at home. The teleport movement is way more useful than the killing potential. Yes, I know people are sliding around with waveframe grenade launchers and wiping whole teams. That's not my style. It's very effective, yes, but that's just not my style. My style is more precise, using a scalpel type thing. And so what happens is I sit in my Rift, I get Lumina, Noble Rounds, I buff a teammate, which also buffs myself. I have an Arc Soul for sitting in my Rift. I have Unstoppable Force for blocking with the glaive. And if that doesn't one-shot him, the Arc Soul will. It typically one-shots him before the Arc Soul even comes up. The beauty of this build is that at the drop-off of the Arc Soul aggro, like where the Arc Soul will start attacking people, I can perfectly body shot somebody with the glaive and clean up with Lumina. So this has a lot of flexibility. Of course, I want a Xeno class with this too, just like I do on my Titan. So a Arc Shotty, preferably with Slide Shot. Sparkle Momentum is huge for a glaive, by the way, so you don't have to go through the glaive reload animation. So this is my only Arc build. Let's talk about my only Void build. It's not Astrocyte Verse. Oh, first of all, look at this stat total. You might be wondering, that's way too much recov. Look at all these minuses I take. This is kind of like my Mechaneer's trick sleeve of my Hunter, but on my Warlock. Pardon my voice for dying. This is the third one of these in a row. Hurricane prep. So, Extended Devour, Weaken Grenades, Headshot a weakened target to make an orb, pick up an orb equals Devour, Vortex Grenade to yoink people, Blink because it got buffed. I don't need Astrocyte Verse for it to feel good. Empowering Rift to make Secant Filaments work. By casting a Rift, I get Devour, so it's kind of like the old Void Walker, except instead of consuming your grenade, you consume a Rift, which in my opinion is a much better trade-off. Child of the Old God, since I'm throwing my Rift all the time. And Feed the Void so I can continually heal for getting ability kills. And it does come up with the melee sometimes. To help with the melee charge, I got Invigoration. I typically will use Hawkmoon with this setup. Focusing Strike to recharge my Rift. Kinetic Siphon to make orbs for double kills, which will be health packs on the floor, since walking over them is Devour. This is a build that rewards aggression. So that is my only Void build. Finally, back to Solar. I'm sorry. 1 second. When you see Rain of Fire, you think Fusion Rifle, Linear Fusion Rifle, Vex Mytho class. Forget all that nonsense. This is double grenade launcher. Shout out to Epic Defender. It's a learning gap. I still have yet to perfect it, but one day I will. I'm getting pretty good at it, but one day I will reach the absolute ceiling of double tapping people with GLs. I have never gotten teabagged more for using this than any other loadout. Even if I have a 100% accuracy game with Last Word, I don't get teabagged half as much as this. So I believe that those are all my Warlock loadouts. I also did a PvE loadout for Kingsfall back then, so you can look that up if you're curious about how I Warlock in PvE. Past that, my voice is dead, and I need to end this stream for a little bit more Hurricane prep stuff. And I will talk to y'all later. Hopefully all goes well after the storm. I will keep you posted on Twitter and the YouTube community post. Should be fine. See y'all around.